Today we're going over the process of buying a house in 2026 for Louisville, Kentucky. Now if you're new here, my name's Spencer Lowe. I'm with United Real Estate Louisville. Make sure you click that subscribe button as well as the bell notification so you don't miss any of my market updates, buyer and seller tip videos, or any general real estate content. Also, down in the description, I've got my 7 costly mistakes I see home buyers make all the time. I've been selling real estate right here in Louisville since 2019, so I've seen buyers make a lot of mistakes, put them all on the list, and it's just things to avoid. It's most common buyer mistakes that I see people make that are just costing them money. So make sure you can go grab that. It's completely free to download, and I've just got it down there for you. Also, if you are thinking about buying or selling and you want some help with it, love to help you out. I've got my phone number down in the description, and I'd love to help you out. Just shoot me a text or give me a call, and we'll get in touch. With that all being said, let's jump into the video. Now, the first step of the process is to find an agent. Now, the reason that I tell people to do this before is because I see a lot of buyers that jump into the process of going and seeing houses before they actually sit down with an agent and talk about the process. So they really don't understand the process of buying a house. They've seen a handful of videos online. They think that they know what they're doing, and most of the time they don't. So sit down with an agent early in the process. They can help you figure out your timeframes. They can also tell you about different lenders that might have different products that could help your situation. Whether that's, you need zero down, whether that's you need down payment assistance, whether that's you're a VA, USDA, you're moving from one house to the next, you're selling a house and buying a house. They can help with bridge loans and different things like that, and can make the buying process a whole lot easier if you sit down with your agent before you actually start looking at houses. So first step, sit down with an agent, discuss the buying process, your timeframes to move, your budget, and all that stuff, and they can really help guide you and get you in touch with the right people to make that move as smooth as possible. Now, the second thing we need to do is we need to get pre-approved. And the reason that I tell people to do this before we start looking at houses is because the perfect dream house always shows up on a Friday or a Saturday night, and then we go out and we take a look at it, and then we're trying to put in an offer. Somebody else is also putting in an offer, and then we're also trying to get pre-approved. So there's a lot of moving parts, and we've got 3 or 4 days worth of actual work to get done, and we're trying to do it in the course of like 2 hours. And so typically we lose those houses, and then people are typically upset because they lost their dream house, but they didn't want somebody running their credit. They didn't want to get people documents and different things like that to get pre-approved. And here's the reasons that you should get pre-approved. So one, not only tells you that you can buy that house, but also it tells us what our payment's going to be and how much we're going to need out of pocket. So if we're doing a zero down loan, well, we still have closing costs. So how much are our closing costs on that loan? Is there different fees included in that loan that we need to worry about paying that we weren't expecting to pay? Different things like that can be really important to know up front before we go under contract on a house, and then we get under contract and we realize our payments, we thought were going to be $1,500 a month, it's going to be $2,500 a month. Or we thought we were only bringing $10,000 to the closing table and we actually need $25,000. We've got the money, but it's going to drain our savings account completely dry, and we're not comfortable with that. So we need to make sure that we get pre-approved before we start looking at houses, so that way not only we know we can buy that house, but also we know we're comfortable with the payments and the out-of-pocket expense of buying that house for that price. Now, the third step in the process is the fun part, and this is where we actually sit down and start looking at houses. And we're looking at different things, bedroom count, bathroom count, square footage, distance from work, school district. We're looking at all the different things for your next house, and this is where the fun part begins, because we actually get to go out and start looking at the houses in person. So we can kind of stop shopping on window shopping online. We actually get to go take a look at them in person. Now, the other thing is when you actually sit down with your agent, obviously, first meeting is just kind of talking about the process, your timeframes to move, the goals, what you're looking for a little bit. But now that we're pre-approved, we start talking about the real specific details that are important to you. And I typically tell my clients to make 3 separate lists. So this is a must-have list. So it has to have all these items in it. It has to have 4 beds, it has to have 2 baths, it has to have 2,000 square foot. It's got to have X, Y, and Z. The second list is this is our icing on the cake list. And this list is stuff that it's not a deal breaker if it doesn't have it, but if it has it, we're extra interested and we really would like it to have this, but it's not a deal breaker. So this isn't stuff like bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage, distance from work, or anything like that. This is stuff like if it's in a neighborhood with an HOA that has a neighborhood pool, that'd be an awesome bonus and a benefit to us. If it is in an HOA with a tennis court, that'd be a bonus to us. If it is 5 minutes away from this coffee shop, or 10 minutes away from church, different things like that can be a big bonus. But we need to know this is not a deal breaker. We're willing to go outside of this, but this is just kind of our icing on the cake list. And then we also have another list, which is our absolutely nevers. And this is stuff that, we don't want in our next house. If it's in an HOA, we don't want it. If it's, if it's next to water or on water or in a floodplain, we don't want it. Different things like that that your realtor can kind of look out for and say, all right, this house is perfect for them, but it's got one of their nevers, so I'm not even going to waste their time or get them excited by sending it to them, because let's be really honest, it's got all the bedroom count, it's got the bathroom count, it's even got a couple of things on the icing on the cake list, but it's got whatever it is on that never list. So letting your agent know about those 3 lists and making those lists and actually having the conversation with, if you're buying a house with somebody, is really important, and your agent can help guide you through, different things to think about when it comes to those 3 lists. And then they can also help you when it comes to looking at those houses, and you send them a house, they go, hey, I noticed it has one of your nevers. Is that a deal breaker, or is this house actually worth kind of going past that? And so that way you have somebody in your corner looking out for, what you said you never agreed to and what you're really looking for. And then on the same side, if we're looking at a 4-bed house and you send me a house and you're like, hey, we're really interested in this one, but it's only got 3 beds. Well, I'm going to mention, hey, it's only got 3 beds. I know we're looking for 4. Is that going to be a deal breaker on this house? That way we're not wasting your time going out and looking at houses that don't fit your criteria or your needs. Now, the 4th step is going to be making the offer. Now, when it comes to making an offer, your agent is going to help guide you through the process of doing that. They're going to put all the paperwork together for you. They're going to send it over to you to sign, and then they're going to get it once you sign it, and they're going to send it over to the other side. Now, once all that stuff happens, your main thing before you make that offer is going to be sit down with your agent and discuss the purchase price, your terms and conditions of that offer, your timeframes in terms of, from offer date to closing date, your timeframes for inspections, and all the little details. Your agent's going to help guide you through the process to making a competitive offer on that house. They're also going to be able to run some numbers on that house to tell you if they're overpriced or if they're on market and what their opinion is on the price of that house. Now, once we make our offer, hopefully we get it accepted. Now, once it's accepted, then it's just doing the things the offer says to do. So our inspections. So how many days do we have to do inspections? Your agent's going to help guide you through this process, and they're going to be calling you saying, hey, we just got our offer accepted. Congratulations. Now we need to move on a couple things. So we need to get our earnest money check in. I can pick up a check from you for X amount of dollars. It needs to be written to this person or this company, and I'll come and pick it up, in the next day or 2. Then we also need to get our inspections set up. So once the inspections are set up, I'm going to give you a handful of suggestions for home inspectors, and then any other inspection that you want to do, termite inspection, maybe a radon inspection, a roof inspection, different things like that. I've got contractors to do all that for you, but you're also able to use whoever you want to use. So if you've got somebody, cousin who does home inspections, absolutely use them. Now, once we get through inspections and we negotiate out repairs, then we're just typically waiting on the mortgage to be finished up. They're going to order the appraisal. They're also going to ask for a bunch of documents from when we actually go under contract, and go ahead and get them to the mortgage lender as soon as you possibly can, because that can really help speed up the process and make it a little less stressful. On top of that, once we get our appraisal ordered and they do the appraisal and it comes back, we're going to look at that appraisal and make sure it looks good. They're going to send it back through underwriting, and then we're just scheduling our closing. Now, once we schedule the closing, we're not fully done yet, so we still have a couple things to do. So first off, we want to make sure that all the repairs that the sellers agreed to do when we were negotiating repairs have been done. So we want to ask for receipts from contractors. We might ask for pictures of work that's been done. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to book a final walkthrough of the property about 24 hours before we get to the closing table. And the reason that we do this is because, let's be really honest, especially if the house has been vacant for a week or 2 weeks, stuff can happen to the house. So we want to make sure the roof didn't start leaking. We want to make sure the toilet hasn't, flooded and flooded the bathroom. We want to make sure that the basement hasn't flooded. Different things like that. They could be costly repairs. We want to make sure that we know about, on that final walkthrough, things that might have happened to the house after the sellers have left. So just making sure that the house is still in good shape. It's in the shape that it was in when we made our offer is really important. So make sure that you have your final walkthrough about 24 hours before we get to the closing table. And then other than that, we're just getting their check for closing, and then we're also making sure that we bring our IDs to closing to make sure that we've got everything we need. Typically, I tell people to bring at least 2 forms of photo ID, because let's be really honest, sometimes we get to closing, we realize that our ID has expired, or for some reason the bank might need 2 different forms of ID. So just bring 2 just to be on the safe side. Now, once we get to closing, we're signing a big thick pack of documents. So just warm up your fingers. You're going to be asked to sign a lot of things, and typically, there's a big document pack. But when you get that big document pack, a good title company is going to explain everything that you're signing, and closing is only going to take about an hour. Now, once we get to closing, we sign all of our documents. We're going to go ahead and get our keys at closing most of the time. Sometimes there is a delayed possession agreement, so they might have an extra 7 days in the house, so we won't get our keys until 7 days after the closing. It really just depends on what's negotiated, and you'll be in the loop of all of this. Your agent will help guide you through the process, but making sure that you're talking to your agent a lot, and making sure that you're going to get your keys at closing is a really important thing. Sometimes there is that delayed possession agreement. It's nothing bad. Most of the time what happens is the seller needs the funds from the sale to purchase their next house, and they can't move into their their next house without closing on the next house. So they've got to sell this one first before they can move in. So they'll sell this house, buy this house, and they want an extra couple days to move everything from the house they're selling to the house they're buying. And we see that pretty often, so it's not uncommon for people to ask for that. But we do have a form that kind of helps protect your side of the transaction to make sure that they are out in that time frame. Now, the other thing is once we get to closing, if you are getting your keys, you want to make sure that you go ahead and call your utility companies, the water company, the electric company, the gas company, and make sure that all those are transferred into your name, because a lot of times the sellers are going to call the utility companies and they're going to ask them to shut the power off, shut the water off, and get them out of their name, a day after closing. Sometimes it's the day of closing, so you just want to make sure that the utility company knows to transfer it into your name, so that way you don't see any gaps of service. You're not moving into a house that has no electric. If it's the summertime, it's going to be hot in the house. If it's the wintertime, you're going to be freezing in the house. So just make sure that utilities are set to be turned on the day that you purchase the house. Now, once you get your keys, the utilities have been transferred into your name and we've closed on the property, you're good to go ahead and move in. There are a handful of things that I recommend people doing before they move in, and that's just deep clean it. If you're thinking about getting carpets cleaned or just having somebody come in and clean the house, you might want to go ahead and do that before you start moving your stuff in. And the second thing that I recommend doing is going to be going ahead and getting the locks changed. So a lot of times when you move, you're supposed to get all the keys to the property, but there's always kind of this thing in your back of your mind where you're like, does a contractor still have a key? Does the neighbor have a key? Does, who else has a key to the property that's not me and the owners of the house? So you might go ahead and get the locks changed out, because changing the locks out, typically you're gonna spend a couple $100s, but it's worth the peace of mind knowing that you have the only keys to your house. Now, that's pretty much the process of buying a house in 2026. Obviously, there are some caveats of things that can happen, but a good realtor is gonna help guide you through the process in those different things that can come up. So if you are thinking about buying a house in 2026 and you want some help with it, love to help you out. I've got my phone number down in the description. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss any market updates, buyer and seller tip videos, or real estate knowledge, real estate content. And then the last thing is down below in the description, I've got the 7 costly mistakes I see home buyers making in today's market. So make sure you can go and grab that. Completely free to download, just something that I see a lot of buyers making these mistakes. So I put it in a list for you. Once again, I'm Spencer Lowe. I'm with United Real Estate Louisville, and I'll see you in the next one.